Hi, everyone. Before we get into this episode, there were a few things I felt were important to say to you first. One is that you're probably here because you were curious about my celebrity encounter with AJ from the Backstreet Boys. While I do definitely get into all of that, you need to know that this episode is about so much more than that. It is about some of the most profound moments of my life leading up to that. I spend a lot of time reflecting and being vulnerable, and this episode is not going to be what you expect. But I have a feeling that if you are a hardcore Alexander James fan, if you've followed him for a long time and you love his music and you love him, then I think you are going to find a lot of yourself in this episode as well. So, once again, it's not going to be what you expect, but it's going to be so much more. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Melissa Estelle, and welcome to the Backstreet Lounge. It's been a long time. It's been several months since I've done an episode, and that's just because I've been very, very busy. But I had something very exciting happen recently, and I have been so excited to talk about it with you guys. So, as a lot of you may or may not know, Alexander James, or AJ of the Backstreet Boys, has a solo album out right now called My Name is Alexander James. He was recently promoting his first single off that album. The song is called Flowers. And what he did was he asked his fans to post their own videos saying who they would give their flowers to. And I thought that was so sweet. It ended up being a really beautiful campaign, and so many people were sharing videos and stories of their loved ones, their friends and family, and really lifting others up and showing so much appreciation. And the whole thing was just brilliant. It was a brilliant campaign, and it was so positive. And I did make a couple videos, and he went on to say that of those videos, he was going to be picking 20 fans and sending them flowers. So that brings us to why we're here today. And it is because I was lucky enough to be one of those people. Not only that, but Alexander James personally hand delivered my flowers. So, what I would like to do today is just share with you all how that day went, what it was like having him here, and share a few little stories from while he was here, and also answer some questions that I received from people, and just overall what the experience really meant to me. So, first, a little background on me and my lived experience of being a Backstreet Boys fan. I have been a fan since around 1997, or when I was about 13 years old. At the time, that kind of pop music was not on my radar, and I have my friend Nicola to thank for kind of forcing me to listen to them, and they blew me away. I was an instant fan. At the time, I was really into musical theater. I was in a lot of plays and musicals. I was in choir. I loved acting, and I took my music very seriously. I was really into Phantom of the Opera at the time. And so that's where my mind was at when the Backstreet Boys came into my life. So I distinctly recall watching Everybody, Backstreet's Back, the music video, and seeing Alex dressed up as the Phantom from Phantom of the Opera. And you better believe that caught my attention real quick. So I was very intrigued. And then I later saw their special, A Night Out with the Backstreet Boys, and that solidified it for me. That was so classy and so well done. I was hooked, and I have been a fan ever since. So going through middle school was rough for me, and their music really, really pulled me out of a depression at the time. And I know that that story is not unique. There's so many other people with very similar stories, but this one is mine, so I'm sharing it. And their music gave me a reason to smile every day, something to sing along to, and just filled my life with joy. So those are my earliest memories of the Backstreet Boys, is my life being filled with joy in a way that I had not experienced in a very, very long time. So going into high school, still very much a fan, and I got to go to my first concert in 2001. I was 16, it was the Black and Blue tour, and I happened to win backstage passes right before the show. So I got to do the meet and greet, and they all gave me hugs. And of course, Alex gave an amazing hug, and he was just so sweet and playful, and that memory stayed with me to this day. I'm 41 years old, and I still think about that. Then moving forward, I got to another concert around 2006, I think, and then I took a very long break. I didn't get to another show until 2019 for DNA. And that was because, one, I was poor. I couldn't afford to do anything. But two, I was in a very, very bad relationship with my ex husband. And he was very controlling and awful. And I basically wasn't allowed to do anything that I wanted to do. And there was no joy in my life anymore. So it was pretty rough. But I was still a fan. I still loved them. And even in some of those darkest moments in all those years, it was honestly their music that continued to bring joy to my day. When I thought that there was nothing else worth smiling about, I knew I could put the Backstreet Boys on and feel something. And sometimes, as long as you know that you can feel something, it gives you a reason to keep going. Sorry, I cry all the time. But so when I tell people, I took a big long break in the middle and, I didn't see them between 2006 and 2019, it's not like I wasn't a fan. And it's not like their music wasn't making all the difference in the world in my life, because it was. Whew. Anyway, so 2019, I saw them, and then the pandemic happened. And I saw them again finally for the second leg of that tour in 2022. And at that show was my first pit experience, and I did the meet and greet again because you got through the pandemic. Oh, you had to like go for it and make it worth it. So I did the meet and greet. Oh, and it did my heart so good. I was so happy. After that, I made it to one of Nick's solo tours for his Who I Am tour. That was a lot of fun. And then I also made it to Alex's tour with Joey Fatone for a legendary night. That was amazing. That was also my first solo meet and greet with Alex. Now, this one was important because it was just going to be the two of us. The other guys were not going to be there. And it was my chance to tell him all the things I wanted to say. And, I know he gets that all the time. I can't imagine what it's like to be someone that everyone spills their heart to constantly. That's got to be pretty heavy. But after so many years, he's ever the professional. And when it was my turn to see him, I think I got out most of what I had wanted to say at the time. Just about how grateful I was to see him again, and what an honor it has been to follow his career all these years, which I have. So to start off, one of the things that really drew me to Alex from such a young age was I felt like we had a lot in common. You wouldn't really know it to look at us, but at the time, I felt like there were a lot of similarities and things that mattered to me. One was I found out that he was an only child, like me. He was being raised by an incredible single mother, just like I was, and that really mattered to me, especially at the time. And he was a big theater kid like me. He loved musical theater and performing and singing, and those were all things that were very, very important to me at the time. And so I felt a very strong connection with him. And, what that really did was make me want for his happiness so much because I felt like I understood him in some way. I mean, I know you never really know anyone. I'm not delusional, but I knew where he was coming from. And to see someone who seemed like such a good person, he was such a good young kid. To see him succeed meant the world to me. The other guys, too, obviously, but we're here to talk about Alex. So that said, I was very invested in Alex, and besides having some similarities and things in common, you cannot deny what an amazing talent he is. His voice is incredible. I've never heard a voice like his before, and it's so unique, and it just speaks to me. There is something about it that deeply, deeply resonates. And even all these years later, all it has done is grow and evolve and become so much more rich and powerful. So the similarities mixed with his incredible talent are just some of the foundational reasons that I just have loved him so much all these years. And of course, as time goes by and you learn more about a person, he gets older, he changes, life happens. I want to say, he has so consistently been a good person. I know he has done his stuff and has his own personal life and things that he's working through, things that he needs to take responsibility for that he has. That's his business. So I'm not saying he's a perfect person. Nobody is. What I am saying is that he is always trying to do better and he cares deeply about people. You cannot not see that. And every time I have met him and every time I hear people talking about him that know him, it's all the same. He's just a beautiful person. Anyway, I also saw the guys at 3 shows last summer in Vegas, 2 shows in July, and then their last summer show on August 24th. And at that one, I did go to the meet and greet. And so far, that was the last meet and greet they ever did. So I hope they do them again, but I don't think that they will. So anyway, at that meet and greet, it was always my plan to ask Alex for a kiss on the cheek because, I love him so much and it was going to be a dream come true. But when it was almost my turn to go up to the guys, I noticed out of the corner of my eye somebody standing there watching. It was his mom. His mom was there, and I had to work up the courage to ask this man for a kiss on the cheek in front of his mom. And actually, when I first noticed her, I was starstruck. For whatever reason, I haven't been starstruck in front of the guys or other celebrities I've met, but when I saw Denise standing there, I got so excited I wanted to go shake her hand so bad. But I didn't because I didn't want to be weird and creepy. I also didn't want to step out of line and scare their security. So I asked Alex for a kiss on the cheek, and he said, of course. And that's one of my favorite pictures in the whole wide world. And this moment, seeing him and the other guys at the meet and greet that day, if you had told me that the next time I was going to see Alexander James McLean with my own eyes was going to be exactly 35 weeks later, standing at my front door with roses for me to tell me how much he appreciates me, I would have called you crazy. It sounds crazy. Even now, even after all the processing I've done, it still sounds crazy. But it's true. So I can't talk about the day of when he showed up without first addressing one of the biggest questions that I've received is that did I know? Did I know ahead of time that he was going to be there? The honest to God answer is no. I did not know 100%. I had some clues. I had some very big clues, but I didn't know for sure. The reason I say I had some clues is because while the flowers campaign was going on and we knew that he was going to be sending people flowers, I received a message asking for my address. And I just assumed this must mean that I'm getting flowers. I was so excited. I told my friends, I said, I think I'm one of the winners. I'm going to get some flowers. And then the next day is when he did his Instagram story saying that he had narrowed down the 19 people and said that one lucky person was going to get their flowers in person. And I never even entertained the thought that that was going to be me. I just assumed that I was lucky enough to get flowers. And so that's what I went with. And then about a week to 2 weeks later, people started coming online saying that they were getting official emails with like forms to fill out. And I didn't get that. And I was starting to get kind of worried and confused. I didn't really know who to reach out to or ask about it. You don't want to be pushy or presumptuous. Definitely don't want to be presumptuous. But some of my friends and family said, "You know what? I think it's because you're the one he's going to go visit." And I was like, "No. No. Not me, not Melissa. Those things don't happen to Melissa." But I did wonder. And I'm not going to lie, I still tidied up my house. I still tried to be prepared just in case because he did say, you won't know when. I could show up at your job or your house or wherever. It's going to be a surprise. You don't know. So, one of the biggest reasons that I didn't think it was going to be me was because I live in central Washington state and it's kind of surrounded by rural farming and things like that. And it's just a huge pain in the butt to get to. There's no easy way to get here. You got to fly into Seattle and then figure out how to get here. And I came up with all kinds of reasons, just gaslighting myself about why it wasn't going to be me. But then I got a message asking, would I be home the next day around a certain time to receive a surprise package? Now, it could have been flowers. I've never received a delivery of flowers before. Maybe I had to sign for them. I came up with all kinds of excuses. But honestly, it was really, really likely because what other reason would all of this be happening? So I had still been preparing just in case. And after I got that message, I just went into hyperdrive. I started cleaning and stressing and trying to believe if it was real. My kids were excited at the possibility. My husband was excited for me. And I think my husband was hoping, like, this better be true because this woman is going crazy. She's freaking out. But honestly, I'm not good with not knowing what's going to happen. And so all of the what ifs were making me crazy. So that day, I got myself ready. I wanted to make sure that I was dressed like I normally would. I wanted to be comfortable and feel like myself. If you look at a lot of my other social media and my videos, you'll see I tend to dress and do my makeup and hair pretty much the same all the time. So I just wanted to feel like myself. And when the time came, there was the knock on the door. Everybody in the house jumped a little bit because this was it. And it wasn't until then, when I looked through the peephole and saw Alex standing there, holding the roses, waiting for me to open the door, that I knew for a fact. So, no, I didn't know. I had clues, but it wasn't until I saw him there. And that image is burned into my brain forever. I I wish everybody could see what I saw because it was great. But then I had to work up the courage to open the door, which I did because, it's not like I didn't entertain the possibility that he was going to be there. So when I opened the door, you can see it in his video that he posted about it. You see me opening the door, and that's where my head was at in that moment was, oh my God, all of this buildup, there he is. I can't believe it. It's really real. So I think a lot of people were expecting to see shock and surprise, but that's not where my head was at. It was, oh my God, yes, it's real. It's really real. He's really here. So it was that kind of shock and surprise. So honestly, I was just so happy to see him. It wasn't a big fangirl, oh my God, I can't believe Alexander James from the Backstreet Boys is at my house. It was, oh my God, he actually came. He came all this way for me. That's what I was feeling when I opened the door was I cannot believe he came. So anyway, we hugged. He came in. He gave me my flowers. He gave my husband his flowers and shook his hand. And my husband was so happy for me. He was so happy. And he got to meet my kids, all three of them, and they were so excited to meet Alexander James, especially my youngest. Her name is Alex. It's a coincidence. It was actually the only name that my husband and I could agree on at the time. And, like, literally, we could not agree on a single other name. So we both liked Alexandra because it's a beautiful, strong name, and she loves the nickname Alex. So her name is Alex, and she could not wait to meet Alex and tell him her name was Alex. She's 5. But he was so amazing with the kids, and he was just smiling at them and letting them entertain him, and they kept showing him their toys and all their favorite little things, and he would smile and laugh and tell jokes, and we just it became easy. It became comfortable. It was like a friend had come over and we were just talking about our kids. He shared stories about his girls, and it was really nice. He eventually, we came into the living room and he sat in the chair and I was on the couch. And that's about when he started to talk at length about the stuff that he's got going on. Well, one thing he said to me that I thought was funny was when he sat down, he said something like, "You've either got me bugged or you are very perceptive." Because he went on to talk about some of his plans and what he's doing with his music. And it was things that I had previously discussed, ideas that I thought would be good for him. And apparently he's already, thinking about some of the same things. I'm not going to say what they are. Everybody just calm down. I'm not going to tell you what he told me because that's his information to tell. And I don't ruin surprises. But I thought that was funny. And it was cool for me because it showed that I have been paying attention because he told me from his own mouth things that I was right about. And then he went on to talk about, his tour and some of his plans for that. Again, I'm not saying anything, but he was obviously very excited about what he had going on. And I love that he just, sat back and talked. And it was, like I said, it was like having a friend over and just chit chat. And then at one point, he got up and he came and sat down by me on the couch and said that he had one more surprise for me. And he took out his phone and set it up on my kid's dollhouse and started playing the music video for Flowers. I wasn't expecting it. He just did it. And so we sat there together and watched Flowers. And after it was over, he told me that I was the first person to see it. I was so honored. First, my reaction to the video was that, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I didn't even have words for it. I wished that I had been able to see it on a larger screen at the time because the color scheme was just so beautiful and I was blown away, honestly. I was so honored that he shared that with me, and my kids got to see it too. My youngest was sitting next to him for most of it, and she gave it the thumbs up. She liked it too. After the music video, we really just sat around and chatted for a while, and it was just so easygoing, and he was so kind, and he made the whole experience easy for me. Um, I know he's a professional. He's used to all different kinds of fans and the way that they behave, and he knows how to make people feel comfortable. I'm aware. But I really hope that he, not even for one moment, felt like he had to be on while he was here, because I don't care about that. I care about him. And I think that he felt comfortable and safe being here. And that makes me feel really, really good. He was also here with uh, Nikki, his assistant. I know that they've been friends for like 10 years, and I was pretty excited to meet her because, I've seen her around only online, so this was the first time I got to see her and meet her in person. So I was very excited to meet her and thanked her too for coming all this way. One of the things we were chatting about was how complicated it was for him to get here. And I knew that he had done his research because he started recounting all the different possibilities of how he would get here. And he said, yeah, I was looking at flights and I saw I could fly into Seattle and then it was like a 2 or 3 hour drive. And I thought about it, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he even entertained the thought of making that drive. But it would have added so much time to his day. And we do have an airport in town, but there was only one flight leaving every day. There's only the one flight. And so that wasn't going to work. So he said he had to make some calls, and he was able to get that private jet to be able to fly directly into town. So, hearing that information on top of everything else, I was just so blown away because for all of the reasons that I was trying to tell myself that he wouldn't come, he did it anyway. When I thought that it was too hard to get here, it's too complicated, I thought for sure he would maybe pick someone more local to him just out of convenience because that would be the practical choice. Why on earth would he fly all the way from his new place in Las Vegas to my house in middle of nowhere, Washington? But he did. And it just has filled me with so much gratitude. I that's not even a strong enough word. That's not specific enough for how I feel. When I say that I am grateful, it's because for all of the years that I have spent as a fan choosing Alex to give my time, my attention, my love, my energy, my concern over the years, all the times that I have chosen him, to have him turn around and see me and choose me too. From a campaign that had to do with showing appreciation and love and gratitude. I'm sorry, I'm going to cry again. It's just, there's not words for it. I'm so grateful, and I don't feel deserving because there's so many other people that are just as deserving or more deserving to get a bouquet of roses from one of their favorite people. But he was only going to pick one person. And for who knows why, he picked me. And I will always be grateful for being seen. Thank you, Alex. Sorry, I had to take a break and calm down. So anyway, we visited for a little while longer. He told some dad jokes to the kids. I wish I had filmed more of them because he had them ready to go, and it was great. And he was so pleased with himself. We said our goodbyes and, gave a few more hugs, and then he was gone. And I was on cloud nine and in complete and utter shock that everything I imagined that was possible, that could have happened, actually happened. So some of my big takeaways from the experience of him actually being at my house was how at ease he was and what a difference that made for me, because I am normally a pretty easygoing person. You get me on the right topic and I'll start getting loud, but for the most part, I'm very calm, and he made it so easy to be with him, and I appreciated that so much. I loved that he volunteered so much information. I hardly had to ask any questions. He just wanted to tell me everything, and I know that he's just that way anyway. My husband told me later that from his perspective, it was like he felt comfortable talking to me about these things because, one, I'm not an interviewer who's trying to ask prying questions, and I'm also a safe person, and I think that he knew that. I'm not looking for information or material to use. I'm not looking for him to give me the goods so that I can spill the beans on stuff. So I got that he knew that, and he was just excited about everything that he has going on and wanted to share his excitement with me. And so that was very, very cool. And I was so honored that he shared so much. Now I want to talk just a little bit about some of the things that I regret from that day. I know it was still a perfect day, but I also want to preface this by saying I almost didn't want to say any of this because the internet is a mean place sometimes, and I do not want to come off at all as being ungrateful for anything. or spoiled, because I'm pretty spoiled. But some of the things that I wish were different was, number one, I told my husband that if Alex did come, that he was going to have to be on picture and video duty because I wanted to be in the moment and I needed him to be taking the pictures. He dropped the ball on that pretty big. He says that he was just kind of nervous. He's not somebody that ever, has the camera up all the time. I'm the person that takes all the pictures in the family. I have always got my phone out. I'm always filming. I'm always taking pictures. I'm capturing every unnecessary second, filling up my phone. But he was able to film when I opened the door and when we were talking for the first couple minutes, and then he filmed us while we were watching the music video. Now, Nikki also was filming while we were watching the music video, but he didn't film anything else. So any of the other footage I have is images that I took. I've got some pictures of him with the kids. I've got that short video clip of him telling the joke, and that's it. I really, really wish that I had more pictures because it would have really helped me process everything and come to terms with how real it was, and also just to have it to look back on, because so much of what was said is just gone. It's not like I would have used any of that for anything other than precious, precious memories for me. So that one really hurt. As somebody that is a chronic picture taker, it hurts that all I really have are the pictures that we took together, the one picture that he and I took together. I mean, how crazy is that? He flies all the way to my house and I take one picture with him. Ugh. But I was just being in the moment and not really thinking. Because I'm not the kind of person that's like, oh, let's take a picture here, take a picture here. I don't do that. I got my one beautiful picture with him and I love it. I took a picture with him and my husband, the three of us together, and then that was it. The other pictures that I've been able to share have been from the TikTok that we filmed together. I'm so glad that we did that TikTok, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to take stills to make new pictures. So I'm grateful for that. The other regret that I have of what I wish had been a little different is, while I loved having my kids there, and I'm so glad they were able to share that experience with me, I wish that they could have gone somewhere else for a little while. I wish maybe my husband had thought to maybe take them into the other room to play so that Alex and I could just talk. When I am with my kids, I am in mom mode. It doesn't matter who you are, if you are a family member, my friend, or a Backstreet Boy. If you're in my house with me and all of my kids are there, I'm in mom mode. And I know there's other parents out there that know exactly what I'm talking about. So I was not able to be completely myself. I was always monitoring what they were doing, what they were saying, making sure they weren't doing anything crazy or pestering him too much. He was great with them. It wasn't an issue at all. But they interrupt a lot. They're very, very high energy. They talk a lot. And, Alex came all the way here, and there was so much in my heart that I wanted to say so badly. And every time I would open my mouth and start, one of the kids would interrupt. There was at least one time I think I got about 2 sentences out leading into what I was trying to say, And they interrupted, and we all got distracted, and it didn't matter anymore. And it wouldn't have felt right to be like, okay, back to what I was saying, um, because then it just doesn't feel right. It has to feel right. And I wish that I had just a few more minutes with him without the kids there. So, advice to any of you, if you are ever in that situation, get your kids out of the room for like 10 or 15 minutes, because I don't want you to regret it like I do. And if I ever have the chance to speak with him again in person, there are some things that I would love to say. I could say some of those things here, but it's not the same as saying it to him in the same room, within the same energy. But some of the things I would have liked to get out are things that he's probably heard a million times from 1,000 different people. But, they're still my experiences, and I would have liked to say it. I don't even know where to start. From when I was 13 and first felt that connection with him, from our similar special interests, wanting him to succeed and seeing his career take off, and then seeing his personal challenges and how he navigated those very, very publicly. I was so proud of him. I was so proud for the level of character that he showed. All the times where he fell down and got back up, he kept getting up. That's huge. That matters. It matters for him. It matters for his family. It matters because the public sees and his fans see. And it's not like he owes anybody anything, but the fact that he's someone who persists, who is resilient, means a lot to me. It shows me that the boy that I saw when I was 13 is the man that I met. That all the ways that I suspected I knew him have consistently been validated. And what that means is that he is an amazing person. I don't really know him personally, but he has shared so much of himself for so long. So many of us feel like we do. And I hope that he feels some of that in return, that it's not just one-sided for him sharing so much of himself constantly, that he feels that love back. I know he's got his close circle and his support system, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for the foundation of his life that he's rebuilt, because he's come so far, and I'm so proud of him. I feel like all of his little victories that keep adding up, I feel like I'm celebrating a friend or a family member long distance and cheering them on. And I just wanted him to know that that's how I feel, because sometimes I can only assume that at his level of success and celebrity, you have to put walls up. You can't make connections with a lot of people like you might want to. But I so hope that he knows how much real love people have for him, that I have for him since I was 13 years old. that has only gotten stronger and more profound the more I saw him, the more he revealed himself. And I would also like to add, honestly, I have never seen him as the bad boy or whatever. I very much realized early that that was the character that he was being assigned. It worked for him because he was very high energy. He liked color and tattoos, and, he was just loud and proud and really went against the grain. But that doesn't make someone a bad boy. The person that I saw was always that little boy who just loved to perform, who loves being on stage, who loves the energy that he gets from the audience. So I see him as the performer who loves what he does, who's filled with passion. And I see the man who was raised with respect for women, for people, with this great love and curiosity about others. And sure, part of his personality seems to be, with the people pleasing and wanting the positive attention. But you can see how far he's come with that. And he really loves people, and he cares about people. He cares about things very, very deeply and profoundly. And those are things that I have always seen in him and admired in him. And it's given me all the more reason to support him and root for him. And those are things I want him to know. That, yes, I love the music. The music is amazing. I have loved the Backstreet Boys music. He is incredible. He's got an amazing voice. He's very talented. I love his solo work. It's very, very up my alley. Especially some of the new stuff that he's got coming out. It's very much for me. But that said, he has never been a bad boy. He has always been a caring, loving, enthusiastic, charming, maybe a little awkward, and just a good person. A full human being. And that's another reason why the times that I've met him and when he was at my house, that I did not scream in his face or, cry, because there's too much love and gratefulness surrounding how I feel about him. So many of the comments that I saw about this experience were people saying that I was not excited enough. I didn't look happy enough. My reaction was not big enough. Why did he pick her? Because she's obviously not as excited as she should be, because, apparently everybody else would have just dropped dead from shock because they can't believe that AJ McLean is at their house. But I'm just not that way. I was too preoccupied with seeing Alex as a full human being. So it was like this person that I have loved and supported for most of my life is at my door. I'm not going to scream in their face. That's crazy. At the very least, I was a little bit nervous because when I opened the door and realized that Nikki was filming behind him because she needed to record what was going on, I did have a split second in my head where I thought, oh my God, they need content from me. What do I do? Because I don't react big, but inside I'm screaming, but outside I'm just, oh my God, I can't believe he came all this way. There's other things that I would have liked to have said, um, but I'll hang on to those for another time for him. Um, but for all of you that are listening, that were curious, that was my experience. I'm so grateful. I still can't believe that it was me. You know, I've had a lot of time to think about it. And I think some of the reasons why he chose me are one, because of all the support that I've given him for so long, especially in the last couple of years. I've been doing a lot of work on my social media accounts, and I only made those accounts for fun during the pandemic. I didn't intend to do anything with them or take them seriously. In fact, I thought that TikTok was stupid and I called it Tic Tac until I joined, and then I'm still there. Um, but it's turned into something really amazing, and I've met so many incredible people, and it's opened a lot of doors for me. And I love video editing, and so it's just fun for me to make videos that support the guys, that promote Alex's music, and it there's a great community there, and I love that. I love being a part of it. I like keeping it positive because he is such a positive person, and I want to make sure that everything that I put on my social media pages stays that way, stays positive, because it's that positivity that got me through some very, very dark times in my life. And if I can keep facilitating that for other people, promoting him, promoting the guys, then I'm going to keep doing it. So, besides promoting him so much, I think he also chose me because I am a pretty positive person. Um, I know for a fact that he resonates with that, and I really appreciate that. Um, I think he's super positive and amazing too. Um, I also think that one of the reasons he chose me for the flowers is because I don't scream and shout. Because if you think about it, he took a very big risk going to a fan's house, especially mostly unannounced. That's a really big risk for his safety, for, not knowing if it's going to be a huge waste of his time or if I'm going to make it weird somehow for him. He's got a lot to lose. Um, I think one of the reasons is because he felt safe coming to my house. And I don't take that lightly. I recognize that and I respect that and I honor that. I will always be a safe place for him, and honestly for anyone, because he deserves that respect. And just because I know some people are going to be curious, yes, yes, he is very attractive. He is a very attractive man. I am not blind. I can see. I have always recognized what a good looking guy he was. But one of the first ways that I recognized that he was very attractive was that I used to like to draw him. He had the most beautiful face, and I loved his profile. I loved his big brown eyes, and I used to do a lot of portrait drawing, but I was kind of in a rut. And then I started drawing the Backstreet Boys, and then I started drawing Alex, and he was beautiful. And then, of course, as I got older, you see people differently. And he is a gorgeous man. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I only have platonic loving feelings for him. He's an attractive man. And if we were in a different timeline or if I wasn't married happily, I'd be a little more enthusiastic about it. One thing I forgot to add was that Alex had really, really wanted to make the whole thing a surprise, but he couldn't figure out how to get a hold of my husband because my husband doesn't really do social media a lot. And he couldn't figure out, how to get an email or anything to say, is she going to be home? How can we coordinate this? And so he kind of had to drop those hints. But he tried. He tried to be so subtle. I think he did a really good job because, like I said, I did not know for sure. Mostly because I didn't believe it, but also he just did a good job. Okay, so now the question becomes, what's next? What do I have to look forward to? Because I can't really live in this sweet memory forever, although I would love to. But right now, what I'm looking forward to is going to see the Backstreet Boys in Las Vegas next month. I have 2 dates planned for mid-July, and I'm so excited. When I get there, it will have been almost a year since I've seen all of them, and I cannot wait to get to Vegas. I swear I left part of my heart in Las Vegas with the Backstreet Boys. So I got to go back there and feel whole again. I made it to 3 shows last summer and going to 2 more. And if I could, what I really want is to get to the last show at the end of August. I know most people really love to go to like the first show. They like to go to the big openers because it's exciting and everybody's full of energy. And I like that too. But there's just something really special about the last shows. I feel like there's a special kind of energy that has been building up all summer long and just culminating in something really spectacular. And there's a different kind of energy that the fans bring to it and that the guys bring to their performance. And it just feels so special. And I was able to do that last summer because I went to 2 shows in July and then I went to the last show in August. And I'm so glad I did that. And I would give anything to do that again this summer, but I don't think that I can afford it. But, whatever. We'll see. We'll see. But yes, I'm really looking forward to seeing the guys. And I don't think they're going to be doing any meet and greets. And I'm kind of bummed about that. But it's about the show. It's not about the meet and greets. So I'm just excited to be there. But besides the Backstreet Boys, I am very excited about Alex's solo tour, the Better Man Tour. That's a great name, by the way. It's perfect. I'm kind of mad that I didn't think of it, but it's amazing. And the whole album is incredible. If you haven't listened to it yet, go listen to it. But if you've been listening to me this far, you're probably a big enough fan that you've heard it already. But I cannot wait to see Alex's tour. It has been such a long time coming. All of us fans have been waiting so long, right along with him. And I'm also excited about his all-girl band. I think that's super cool. I kind of wish he would do a spotlight on them so that we could get to know them a little bit more. He introduced them once by name, but I still don't know anything about them, and I would like to. Because they're part of the team and I want to lift them up and get excited with them. But I'm going to 2 dates so far. There's only 4 dates available for sale as I'm filming this right now, and they're all in New York, the New York area. I've never been to New York. This will be my first time, and I'm kind of nervous. It's not like I'm a country girl or anything. I spent most of my life in Seattle, but New York is a whole different kind of city, so I'm a little nervous, but still very excited. And I'm also really excited to see how he's going to present the album on stage because I really feel like all the songs on the album are so different, but put together they tell a story of his life and experiences with, a few other little fun ones thrown in there. But I'm really excited to see how it all comes together on stage. And I also fully expect that he will throw in some old favorites of everyone's, plus some of the new music that he's been working on, that he's been teasing on Instagram, that have been amazing. Oh my gosh, this new music is right up my alley. It is very much for me, and I can't wait to see it performed live. Also, because we all know what an amazing performer Alex is, and some of those songs are going to be a lot of fun to watch. This whole solo album and tour, everything that Alex has been working on for the last several years, has, number one, been quite a ride for his fans, but number two, we have been so emotionally invested in this journey with him that to see all of these different successes that he has been accumulating over time with, getting songs written and then building the album, releasing the album, announcing the tour, now going on tour. I am just so enjoying watching this man succeed. And I can't wait to see this tour. And so when I say, I'm going to 2 shows, what I'm really saying is I really hope that when he releases more dates on the 21st, that there are some West Coast shows, because just 2 shows for all that I have been waiting for is just not going to be enough for me. I've got to get to some more shows. So, in order for that to happen, I need some West Coast dates. Alex, please. Please. Um, but if 2 is all I get, then I'm gonna live every single moment in slow motion and record it and save it, because we've all been waiting for so long. And I'm so excited and I'm so proud of Alex and everything that he has been working on. So, anyway, I think I answered most of the questions that I have been receiving. Um, if I did not address something that you're curious about, feel free to ask and I'll answer if I can. Um, oh, just in case you're curious, I spent about a week with the flowers. I spent a nice solid week keeping them alive and just enjoying the hell out of them. I made so many TikToks that are sitting in my drafts because I realized that I can't post any of those because they're too crazy. But I had to wait almost a month for Alex to post about his visit. And so, in that time span, I was not able to discuss it. And, it was a secret, it was a surprise. And so, I was just dying inside. And so, to ease my own pain, I made a lot of TikToks with the flowers. And I'm glad I did, but I only posted a couple of them. But they are now cut and dried in silica beads and patiently waiting to be preserved forever in a resin mold that I have yet to purchase. But yes, that is what I did. I also want to thank everyone, everyone that commented on Alex's posts and my posts with all your very, very kind words. I was honestly not expecting the overwhelming kindness. I was getting ready for the worst, honestly. Um, and there were some pretty awful comments, some that hurt pretty bad, but 99% of what I saw blew my mind. And I have got to chalk it up to Alex's positivity. His fan base is full of beautiful, incredible, kind, loving people. And it shows, because the response to him coming to my house was overwhelmingly loving. And I wasn't expecting it, because I never expect it. Maybe I expect the worst sometimes so that I'm not disappointed, but it meant so much to me. So thank you, everyone. All the love and support has meant just as much as Alex coming here to my house to give me flowers. Um, because it's so nice to know how much kindness is out there. And I want everyone to know that it matters. Thank you for being kind and loving and supportive. And I'm sorry that he couldn't give flowers to everyone. Um, you know, and I know, he wishes that he could, because he would. If he physically could, he would give flowers to every single fan because he loves his fans so deeply. It's so apparent. You cannot deny how much this man loves his fans. So I guess I will leave it at that, filled with love and gratefulness and looking forward to everything that's to come this year and hopefully into next year. We've got Backstreet Boys this summer. We've got Alex on tour. We've got a deluxe vinyl with all kinds of new awesome music to look forward to. And it's just all good. It's all good things. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be a part of this. Thank you guys if you listened this far. I'm sorry that it was so long. Um, there's so much more I could have said that I didn't because I've been talking long enough. I don't like the sound of my own voice, and so it's hard to talk this long. But thank you. I love you all so very much. Um, Alex, bless you. Thank you. I love you. I will see you next month, and I will see you on your tour. Congratulations on everything. I love you.